for everyone. It's a wonderful joy to connect it with you.
Yeah. Don't put it all together. You can see.
The real celebrate.
Yes, well, we are very grateful for this wonderful technology and be able to talk with you, spread over the whole country with 9 groups.
That's fantastic.
And yourself included, that is 10 parties.
That's wonderful.
We'll start out here in Orange. Anne has prepared us a little bit, and she will start off, and then Fern is here for the first question.
All right.
Hello, Dr. Hora. This is Anne.
Hello, Anne. You just with.
I'm sorry, we didn't catch that.
Did you just whistle?
Did I just whistle? No.
Someone did. Yeah.
Someone did. Something did.
All right.
We just took a little time this morning to explore the text about which suggests the meltdown of ignorance,
Yeah.
and that is a universal process of truth melting ignorance.
That's right.
And we related that to the 10th principle of metapsychiatry, that the understanding of what really is abolishes all which seems to be.
That's right.
And so at this point, Fern has a question that she will ask.
Go ahead, Fern.
Hello, Dr. Hora.
Hi.
We spoke a little bit about the thoughts that have been landing in human consciousness about the word meltdown and the idea of it being a catastrophic thing. And I was wondering whether there is a symbolic idea of the way truth melts ignorance, or the way the text said that the sound of the Lord's voice melted the ignorance. Is this a symbolic idea that is being turned upside down in human consciousness about being so dangerous, and that actually it is really the meltdown of ignorance that we need to look at?
Well, there are 2 ways that healing can be experienced. One is by a gradual melting away of a problem and emergence of health. It will be called the beneficial form of melting away of a problem.
Indeed.
And then there is another form described in the Apocalypse, the Revelation, where the healing.
Conference control has been transferred to 7, run, Hora, 9, 7, Hora, 9, Hora, 7, run.
Whatever that means.
It means Jan's in control now.
Who is in control?
Jan is.
Jan is, okay. That's acceptable.
So,
You know, there is such a thing as Satori, described in Buddhism, where the meltdown sometimes is experienced as a catastrophic, disorienting, very dramatic experience of the destruction of the world. The whole world seems to go to pieces. Except for a few moments, perhaps, or a day or two. And it may be accompanied by dizziness and severe anxiety. Well, we don't see much of that. Most of the time, our healings take place gradually, melting away, so to speak. So these quotations from the Bible are really very pertinent to the process of healing, because it is slowly dawning on consciousness that certain cherished notion or fear has no validity, and then they are gradually replaced by the truth. So it's just a melting away of the brethren. So that's very good. Now, what is the difference between the Zen experience and what metapsychiatry offers? The Zen experience is based on a very radical approach to truth realization on a non-verbal level. Therefore, the individual who is training in Zen, he really doesn't know what is going on. Something is happening to him, and he is always very surprised. But in metapsychiatry, we have the great blessing of phenomenological discernment of feeling. And if we come to realize the meaning of our brother, then in confrontation with the spiritual counterfeit to the thoughts which have been plaguing us, we can observe the process of meltdown when our misguided and cherished notions actually gradually melt away and are replaced by an understanding or a realization of certain truth, which in turn results in a healing. I'm sure most of you must have noticed that I had similar experience.
Yes.
I hope you have. So the blessing, the great blessing we have in metapsychiatry is the first intelligent question.
So we don't have to be ever in the dark about what's going on.
Yes, that we are consciously aware of the meltdown process,
Right.
ever catastrophic.
Well, let's ask around, Dr. Hora, if there anybody from any of the groups wants to follow up on this answer of yours. The silence in the land. Maybe we can ask now the group of Ojai what they have prepared.
All right.
Michael?
Are you there, Michael?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we had discussed briefly the idea of fearing ignorance, seeing ignorance as a power or a presence. And in the book Existential Metapsychiatry, you made the statement that if we believe in an evil power, it means that there is a lack of understanding of what is true power. What is the meaning of what seems to be power in persons and conditions? And what is true real power?
Come again with your power business?
Book you said that if we believe in evil as a power,
Yeah.
that's a lack of understanding of true power.
Yeah, well, that's logical, no?
I'll take your word for it. That I would like to know what seems to be a power in another person or in a condition to do harm. And what is real power? What does it mean by real power?
But look here, if we are ignorant of certain thoughts which are affecting the quality of our life, and then it seems that these ignorant and invalid thoughts are holding us in their power, and we actually feel that we are being victimized by certain beliefs or cherished notions. And we actually feel like hostages to such ideas. So it seems like it has a power. Of course, there are many things in life which seem to be but actually they are not. Until we discover the truth which can abolish the invalid idea, erroneous notion, then it appears like there is a power and there is another power which has to overpower this power, and the whole thing looks like a battle. But it is just describing what seems to be. PAGL, that just seems to be. There is a picture in my office with the Buddha standing in semi-darkness, and the caption says, "Man is a place where darkness struggles against the light." So there is a description of a battle going on in individual consciousness.
Dr. Hora,
Yes.
it's interesting that the caption says the darkness struggles with light.
Yeah.
Not man struggles with darkness.
So darkness struggles against the light.
So man is actually not a part of it.
So man is just the battleground. And the Bible says the battle is not yours but God. Set yourself standing still and see the salvation of the Lord. And then there is the famous sentence from the Bible is that the flesh warreth against the spirit. See, again, it seems like there are two powers in contact. But actually, that is just the human experience. In reality, of course, there is only one power,
Yeah.
and that is God. So, Michael, you have to differentiate always clearly in your thought what seems to be and what really is. Then your practice will be much clearer.
Is there anybody who would like to follow up on this from any of the groups?
Then the matter that
Could you identify yourself?
Right, this is Adolf Leon.
From Washington.
Yes, Washington. Then matter, the misunderstanding will always appear as matter then, for material world in conflict. And that's really an externalization of our own lack of understanding of what really is. In other words, the darkness will just take form. And that simply reinforces what we have seen to be darkness. Well, Adam, it would help to even remind yourself or your students that matter is not material. Yeah. It appears to be. Yes, right. Yes, right. That's what I get to what I'm saying is that what seems to be takes the form of something permanent and substantial. Yeah, that's right. Until we are grasped by spiritual understanding, and then we see it for what it really is. And the first step is to always to remind ourselves that the material is mental. Yes, that's how it's done. Yes. No matter what the diagnosis or the outward appearance of the problem is, in a physical form, we have to remind ourselves that the physical is mental. That's the beginning. Yes. Okay, Adolf. Okay. And it really, though, we really need to remind ourselves accordingly that it's always taking place within consciousness. That's right, sure, that's right. Therefore, it cannot really be a cause because it has no existence apart from consciousness. That's right. Yeah. It only has a meaning. Only has a meaning. Exactly that way.
Maybe we can now ask the San Francisco group to Ani to introduce the one who asks the question and asks you a question.
Only think something.
Yeah, think something.
Well, those are helping. Very thank you, Dr. Hora. I threw in my heart with this experience. But anyway, Jim Leachy, they're going to pose the question in our group.
All right.
Dr. Hora, we were talking this morning about our perception of natural disasters, like accident in Cameroon with the volcano, or with the fear of nuclear weapons, or the threat of attack on Libya.
Yes.
And we were trying to discern the meaning of our tendency to be hurt or to feel powerless or to be affected by that. And what we were coming up with was that we tended to see people as victims or oppressors. And that way of seeing others also was the way of seeing ourselves, that we ourselves as helpless victims or oppressors.
Yes. Right.
So we were wondering if that was a possible meaning for the tendency to feel this. Also, we wanted to ask you, what really is? What do we need to understand to be free of those false ways of looking at things?
Yes. But whenever we have practice with some major frightening report which we watch on television or hear about or read in the paper, the first question to ask is not what happened there and why did it happen and who is to blame and what's wrong with the world. These questions are of course, all right for the newspaper to ask. But in mental psychiatry, we ask another question. They always start out with another question. Namely, what is the meaning of my experience in connection with this report? See? And then everything that you hear and you think and you read about will help you to gain a different perspective on the situation. You may not be able to help anybody or to change anything, but you will preserve your own perspective and not fall into despair.
So the focus is on the meaning of my experience or our experience rather than on the meaning of the event directly.
That's right.
Is anybody in the group there or other groups that want to follow up?
There are no volunteers in these groups today.
Well, what we'll do, Dr. Hora, is we'll go around first and then we'll open it up for a more unstructured conversation.
All right.
Here is Anne, she had something.
Well, I just, in terms of this, what you just said about not asking the meaning of a seeming event, but only of my own experience of it, seems to clarify somehow for me that all we're ever dealing with is consciousness.
Exactly.
And that we get off, or always, that is, and that's how we participate in the meltdown, perhaps, is by sticking with consciousness rather than giving these things the status of actual happenings.
Okay.
And that when we even ask what is the meaning of that happening, we are actually involved in the ignorance in some way rather than staying in consciousness.
Exactly, that's right.
That's very clarifying. Thank you.
Also for another question. That also goes for another person. Like asking what is the meaning of that other person having a problem.
Right, sure. Sure.
All right, let's move on to Denver. And Patty Lucas, are you there?
Yes, we are, Jan.
All right, have you been discussing this topic?
This was a discussion topic, and we pretty much zoomed in today on the different types of ignorance. that's defined in the textbook, the negative ignorance and the positive ignorance. And we have a question on that.
All right.
I would like some clarification on it. Quoted in the textbook that ignorance is not passive, but existential, and it is built into the human condition. I was wondering, Dr. Hora, if you could help clarify that a little bit.
Ignorance is not passive, but is existential, and is built into the human condition. Well, that's a big sentence.
Is that from Beyond the Dream?
That doesn't matter really.
Oh.
I think that the whole world is factoring or groaning under the state of the groaning under the burden of ignorance. So it is a universal experience of the human race. And it is existential because it determines the quality of experience in life and its manifestation. And what that in the question?
The Kipper stated that it is built into the human condition.
Yes, it's inevitable because the human race judges by appearances. And that results in a universal tendency to misinterpret and distort what is being seen. And consequently, there's a great deal of ignorance being propagated among the people of the world, which in turn results in a sea of mental garbage. So that's the human condition.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hora. That was clarifying.
You're welcome.
Is there a follow-up question to this? The next group is Washington, D.C., and Adolf, you have prepared some questions on the topic.
Brett, we had a time prior to the call yard, and I think Dick Borger will have a question. Dick? Hey, on, you know, I'm Doubting Thomas, right? I'm new to the group, and there's a question I'd like to ask about the whole meeting. Oh, but it's psychiatry. I'm trying to get convinced, all right? You and I'm beginning to be privy to information that particularly what I did, they're in the medical psychiatry acceptable framework. And I got communicated to the you, Dr. Hora. My question is, how do I know that we're not intellectual aristocrats? And how do I know that sometimes it's a feeling that you know something I don't know and it's too bad for me? You get what I'm getting at?
The question is, does Dr. Hora get it?
You're an intellectual aristocrat, and meta-psychiatry have come into the world to disabuse you of that. I'm trying.
Would you expand on that, Dr. Hora?
Well, maybe Dick doesn't better know the meaning and purpose of meta-psychiatry.
Well, I think we all can benefit if you would help us see that.
Well, we see meta-psychiatry as a great blessing, as actually the gift of God to our time. And we have come to understand that it is an epistemological method of truth realization which is quite a unique system and unique approach to the truth, because it is a new road. We have built a new road, a new approach to the truth. It is neither philosophical, nor religious, nor materially scientific, nor political. It's entirely unique, and it has tremendous blessings for all people who come to understand it. And even beyond that, the people who are just intellectual aristocrats and don't get understanding. That as the practice should say, that is a great blessing to have a new approach which facilitates the realization of the truth. And it is this truth and realize that melts away the ignorance of everyone.
So let's go on. And we'll come back.
All right. Then we'll move on to the next group, which is in Stonington, Connecticut, Emily and Susan. Did you have a question prepared?
Carry on. Susan? Great.
Is that Susan?
Oh, and Emily?
Yes.
We're here.
All right.
Hearing it, a passage from the Bible came to mind yesterday.
Pick up a little, Susan.
Can you hear me now?
Not well enough.
Can you hear me now?
That's better. Yes, very good.
Okay. A passage from the Bible came up with regard to this topic, and so we had a question about the meaning of it, and it's that passage in John where Jesus said, and this is the condemnation that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. We're summarizing a perverted idea. We would have to succeed in using that passage with regard to this topic of military here.
Everybody changing tapes.
Yeah. That's what we did. And this is the condemnation that light has come into the world, that man loves darkness rather than light, for that he should evil. Now, how does metapsychiatry understand it that there is an inertia in people against changing their ways and accepting the Christ teaching in a meaningful way to be transformed. And Jesus says the reason for this is because the beings are evil. Now this sounds like a severe judgment, but we see it as indicating that one of the great obstacles to the realization of the truth and the correct understanding of the teachings of Jesus is operationalism. As long as we are in the habit of thinking in terms of how can I do this and what should I do, and I must do something, that it is this we have named operationalism, and it is a stumbling block to the realization of the light of the Christ. So it is possible that that's what Jesus was referring to, that one of the great problems is abandoning the tendency towards operational thinking.
Perfect. That's very helpful. Is that also an aspect of understanding superhero?
Well, there are many forms of ambitious children, but ambition can be an operational approach or a willful pursuit of what we want, which can be intellectual or emotional or madness. And that are, you don't have to be ambitious and ambitious operationally in order to have difficulty studying metaphysics.
For the view of operation is that in that context is what?
Well, as you know, as you are reading and studying metapsychiatry, you come across of the six dumb questions, right?
Right.
And two of those questions refer to the tendency to think in operational terms and ask the question, what should I do and how should I do it, right?
Right.
So metapsychiatry teaches you to abandon this kind of questioning. And that will help you get beyond operationalism.
Right, that's true. Okay, thank you.
You went on through the
Connecticut sounds a little farther away. Let's try with Old Lyme, if we can hear them. Are you there, Ruth?
That's John. Hello, Dr. Hora.
Oh, that's very clear.
just hear you very well.
That's good. We'll then turn over the question to Joanne, who is with the New London group. And here she is. It follows, I think, on the here very nicely and some of the other questions that have already come up. Joanne? Hello, Dr. Hora. This is Julianne.
Hello, Joanne.
So my question is, what is the meaning or the purpose of life for those people who are not aware of their ignorance and therefore are not motivated to begin to search for the truth? And is there a way that we can pray for those who are not as fortunate to be able to study metapsychiatry?
Well, as you know, Joanne, the Bible clearly said that the meaning and purpose of life is to come to know reality. This is life eternal, that they may know thee, the only true God, and Jesus Christ, whom thou hast sent. This is the purpose of life. Now, some people are in the process of fulfilling this purpose, and students of metapsychiatry certainly are in the process of fulfilling this purpose. Now, as far as the other people are concerned, we have no right to intercede and to influence them individually and personally. But we can be influential models of spiritual excellence in their lives. And that would facilitate the redemption of the human race if there were sufficient number of such models.
I think I'm probably still concerned with maybe people living in a culture where they're not, they do not have books or guides or even other people to be influential to them, that they could live this ignorant way a whole lifetime. And so what is the purpose of that consequence in life?
Well, it seems that the whole human race is involved in an enormous evolutionary process. It is not Darwinian, neither religious, but the evolution of consciousness. And it is not for us to say how long it will take for the rest of humanity to see the light of Christ. Certainly we have great compassion for people who suffer, because now we have come to discover and to know that suffering, while inevitable, it is not necessary. There is a way to heal everyone through the process of melting away the ignorance through the method of the two intelligent questions, which we are learning in Method by God. But you cannot force it on people. That would not be right. The proselytizing and influencing is not right. And we consider it a sin of trespass.
Thank you, Dr. Hora.
You're welcome.
The last but not least group is Charles in New York. Charles, are you there?
In the first hour, in conjunction with the Meltdown of Ignorance, we were discussing how problems become healed by first revealing to us the invalid values on which they are based. And it helps us to know what is the truth that will correct it. So, as an example, we discussed the healing of the problem of envy, which is based on comparison thinking. And so, in conjunction with that, Elizabeth would like to ask a question.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Dr. Hora.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Charles said we discussed envy as one kind of ignorance that comes out of comparison thinking, and we talked about the counterfact being realizing our uniqueness.
Yes.
We also talked about overcoming the personal mind, but this idea of realizing one's uniqueness could help us to overcome envy. And then we went on to realize that we can think of our uniqueness in a self-confirmatory way. So we'd like to understand what is uniqueness and how to understand it without self-confirmatory thought.
Friend, if you think of your uniqueness in a self-confirmatory way, then actually you are implying that you are the creator of your uniqueness. You see?
Yeah.
And at that moment, you are completely out of the picture, immersed in a deep ignorance. Not only do we say that we are all unique individuals, but our uniqueness is determined by the creative mind, which is God. If you understand uniqueness in this context, then your sense of uniqueness is not self-confirmatory. It glorifies God.
So, Dr. Hora,
Yes.
does that mean, it sounds like you're saying that to realize our uniqueness, we have to understand humility?
We have to understand the creative power which has endowed us with that uniqueness. He didn't do it ourselves. Have you ever heard of operationalism, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't do it ourselves. We don't create our own uniqueness. It's interesting there are many examples of specific ignorant ways of thinking about uniqueness. What happens when a human person would like to express his uniqueness?
Well, he gets in a lot of trouble.
It becomes a bizarre personality. Yeah.
The Dr. Hora?
Yes.
There are a lot of people, well, everyone practically thinks that their uniqueness is something they do, and not everyone looks like a bizarre personality.
Well, more or less. Furthermore, it doesn't heal envy. The envy, it makes envy worse. Now, if you look at the rock and roll, the phenomenon in our country and look at those rock stars. What do you see? They are competing here, making themselves appear unique, different from each other. And consequently, there is a competition and who can look more bizarre. Haven't you noticed that? So they are creating their own uniqueness. And the result is an insane asylum.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Elizabeth.
Is there anybody in the New York group wants to follow up?
Yeah. Yeah, so Dr. Hora, this is Annette.
Hello, Annette.
Would it be helpful then to see our uniqueness from the point of view of being here for God and that we are instruments of God? And what we would need to understand then is to have gratitude and to seek to understand the unique role that God has given us in the joint participation that we are all a part of.
Absolutely, Annette. Beautifully stated. Very nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Hora, we have had all the groups, and if you have a question, we have Bill here to answer it.
Hello, Bill.
Dr. Hora,
Yes, Bill.
please don't ask the question.
I'm doing the rounding to do of the United States.
Is that not something? All right, now let's try the experiment of just opening it up for informal dialogue, and anyone from any group that would like to pursue a question. Actually, we have here Taylor Donlin, who has a question here from Orange.
So I have Taylor.
And pardon me, before she starts, anyone that would, after her, want to ask a question, that they identify themselves by name and place. Taylor.
Hello, Dr. Hora.
That's Taylor.
The question is, in terms of understanding that there is a meltdown going on in ignorance, where does faith come into the picture? It seems as though faith is spoken of a lot in the Bible, and it seems as though if there were a healthy understanding of that, perhaps to get through the difficult phases of the meltdown, could it help, do you think?
Yes, of course it could. You see, well, faith can be very helpful when we are involved in a situation where it is difficult for us to understand the truth. We have certain difficulties of realizing the truth, but that's the great value of metapsychiatry, that it makes it possible for everyone to go beyond faith into the realm of realization. As we said, metapsychiatry is a method of truth realization, so that we don't get stuck at faith. Faith is very helpful for religious people who believe that man has no way of understanding God, that it is not possible for man to realize the truth. He can only believe in it or know about it. But in metapsychiatry, we are blessed with a method which makes it possible to come to know the truth directly and absolutely. And that happens with the help of the true intelligent grace. which in juxtaposition create what we have called the cognitive dialectic, which precipitates us into the realization of the truth. So we don't need just to struggle with faith. And the faith, of course, will give you some modicum of peace, but it will not heal you. Faith healing is not sufficient because you don't really know what is being healed. You think that a physical symptom is being healed. You don't realize that a certain thought process is being healed and transformed. So we don't talk much about faith in metapsychiatry because we can seek realization of the truth rather than just believing in the truth or worshipping the truth or hoping for the truth. That the difference between religion and metapsychiatry is one of the two differences. Another radical difference is that most religions are based on the assumption that God is here for man. And man has to find a way of influencing God. In metapsychiatry, we have discovered that man is here for God.
Dr. Hora, this is Joan
Yes.
in Orange. I have a question about faith. Is it true then that perhaps faith is what allows us to endure the discomfort or the anxiety for long enough to be able to see something better than we have seen?
Under favorable circumstances, yes, but without the two intelligent questions, it's doubtful whether that will happen. There are many people throughout the world, religious people, who have faith in God, in what they believe in. But that is religion, John. And faith is not enough.
Yes, I see. I was thinking of sometimes as a student, I can see or begin to see the mistake, but I haven't yet realized the truth. And what I have to do is just commit myself to whatever I know or have read or have studied about the truth, and just kind of hang on to that before there's any realization.
Yes, that's right.
And the word faith seems to define that.
That faith.
Yes.
That transitory faith, perhaps,
Yes.
to speak of it that
Yeah.
way. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Dr. Hora, this is Dickens in Washington. Graphic. It is done by acceptfully and love intelligence, the prevailing principle, primal. It is a kind of a faith also. And you can have faith in love intelligence until such time that you discover its reality. Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Dr. Hora, this is Bob in Washington, and the question I've been working with for a long time is actually dealing with the two questions that we have. Basically, it's the first question, what is the meaning of what appears to be? In working with that, I can usually easily identify a thought that will appear to me to be the meaning in a situation, but more often than not, it's easy to view the thought as the cause of the circumstance, the behavior that was exhibited. And I see that as an impediment to realization. I'm looking for some clarification as to meaning itself. It was helpful when in one of the newsletters, Anne had indicated to use the 2-1-2 approach. That sort of puts me back on the right track, but I do have difficulty in discerning the meaning of situations or whatever it may be. But most people have this difficulty initially, and we are focusing in on it that Jan had planned a course on phenomenological perceptiveness. We are going into an endeavor to teach the discernment of meaning with the help of the phenomenological method of discernment.
John, would you send me an enrollment card? Yes. We'll hook you up next week.
Dr. Hora, this is Jay Gray. Yeah, Jay. I haven't clearly articulated the question, but the word meltdown has been most recently applied to what happened in Chernobyl with the nuclear power plant. Yes. We say that ignorance destroys itself. Yes. And we also say that light abolishes darkness. Yes. We might say then that it's 2 against 1. We have ignorance destroying itself, and we also have light helping to destroy ignorance. Yes. I'd like to understand better what nuclear fission and the fact that it does melt down the physical world. What is the counterfact, or is that an expression of ignorance, or is that have some spiritual connotation or meaning? Well, see, everything in the material world is a phenomenon. Even atomic power is just a phenomenon. Yeah. And so is their vicissitudes associated with nuclear power. Those are phenomena. And in order for a phenomenon to appear either as a desirable or a catastrophic one, a thought had to precede it. It is a thought. All phenomena are thoughts appearing as force. So there must have been taking place certain thought processing around that particular geographical location, which then came manifest as a catastrophic meltdown. You know that we have our share of catastrophic failures. If you think of the space shuttle and various rockets which have failed recently, yeah. That can only happen if some thought processes are present in certain significant consciousness. Without thought, nothing happens, nothing appears. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus says, in ratione nihil est, which means nothing can happen without thought. So that's the phenomenal world where everything manifests itself as form or formlessness, or good event or bad event. The phenomenal world is the world of the serpent, who said, "Ye shall be as God, knowing good and evil." So in this world, the phenomenal world, we have good and we have evil. But after enlightenment, see that we see all this, but it just doesn't have any power over us. We are just observing it in a transcendent state. Yeah. The mountains are mountains again, and the rivers are rivers again. But we have nothing in common with it. That's a wonderful thought. Thank you. You're welcome.
Dr. Hora?
Yes.
Virginia and Denver?
Hello, Virginia in Denver.
I was listening over the last couple of minutes on the idea of the meltdown and sort of universally and with all of the scale and nuclear stuff. And one of the things that helps me to not just run what's going on in the world, but in looking at my own life, it was because I had suffered consequences enough that I became very, very willing to be embarrassed, to heal, to keep searching. And I have the feeling that my mouth of interest to the world in general, they aren't sitting down at the table and talking and negotiating with being willing. Instead, so they're very aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
What's destroying that?
Oh, yes, Virginia. What blessed is one, blessed is all. If you are blessed by healing and realization, you become a beneficial presence in the world and a focal point of healing.